I'm Kelsey Kenry, and I am a business consultant for mom founders. And today we're going to talk about the dark side of being a CEO and what's being accepted as the norm and what needs to change so that's no longer the norm. So let me start this out by saying, first and foremost, what becomes the normal is what we accept as normal. And as women, as mothers, and as business owners, until we start not accepting things as the norm, until we step up and are saying, this doesn't feel good and it needs to change, it won't change. So I was recently browsing on my news feed on one of the many social media apps, and I saw this post that caught my eye and made me a little bit sad, to be honest with you. So it was a very vulnerable post, and it started with gratitude for all that this very successful business owner have built. It was about her company and everything that they've accomplished in a short period of time. She was talking about winning awards. She was talking about all the achievements and basically experience growth that was unheard of. And she spoke about all these things, and these are usually the things that we see as outsiders, right? These are the things that we strive for as business owners, is the recognition and the achievements and the revenue. Like, these are things that we're like, okay, that's the thing that we want to be successful. That's the thing that we define as successful. But then she had this whole list that she had compiled about, while all of that was occurring externally, what was happening to her. And it was pretty disturbing and also just not uncommon. So she talked about how she had a herniated disc that she had to get spine surgery for, and she had high cholesterol from all of her stress and the food choices that she was making because of the stress. She talked about her physical exhaustion that was so bad that she couldn't do bedtime routine with her kids. She talked about having panic attacks and taking anxiety medications. She talked about having to get braces because she was grinding her teeth so much that it shifted her teeth. She talked about the inability to sleep. She was only sleeping 4 or 5 hours per night for like 5 years, and how she had to learn to actually sleep longer again. And she had an eye that was drooping that she never even made it to the doctor to get checked out. And as she was rising and achieving all of these things, personally, she was just crumbling, right? And this physical and mental distress that women put themselves through for business ownership and for striving for these achievements is something that we've accepted as the norm. We've accepted that when you choose to run a business, it requires you giving all of you. And while I understand that, it also comes back to the reality of, why are we accepting that as norm? Why is it that we celebrate all of these accomplishments and these achievements without asking about the actual journey? When you are a leader, people are looking to you and they're inspired by your achievements, and they're asking you, how did you get there? Do you want to tell the story of, well, how I got there is I completely ignored my mental and my physical well-being and my family. That's how. Does that story feel real to you? And if it feels true to you, there is no judgment. It's just a call for change at this point. So reading this post, of course, I'm naturally like, oh, this is awful. Like, why is this happening? And it is happening. And this is the reality. And whether your reality has gotten, to that extreme level or not, the insomnia, the anxiety, the stress, the overwhelm, the reactiveness, the disconnection from your partner, like, these are very common threads that a lot of my clients are dealing with. So I'm grateful that she shared this story, because even, of course, in the comments section is all of these women that are sharing about how they are experiencing or have experienced something similar. And to me, I read that, I'm like, again, why is this normalized? So really, if you take anything away from this today, I encourage you to take ownership and an honest inventory of how you're leading your business and how you are leading your life, and recognize that it's a choice. What you say yes to, how you spend your time, how you spend your energy, it is a choice, and you have the power to choose, and you can lead your business. Even if you have started and grown and built a very successful business through abandoning yourself and your relationships, you don't have to continue it that way. And that might feel really scary, as it does for most of my clients, since they are coming to me on that threshold of like, I can't lead this like this anymore. I promise you that it can be done. So, every single day, another woman in leadership, another business owner wakes up with anxiety, wakes up with a headache, wakes up not wanting to do what she needs to do that day to fulfill the business's needs. And this becomes a cycle. It becomes autopilot, it becomes a hamster wheel. And my question is this really what we want to normalize? Is this really what we want to show our children? What if we stopped making it normal? Like, what if we flipped this and it was like people who did that were like weirdos or outsiders? That's not the language that I want to use. But what if it was that way? What if it was like, well, of course, you open your own business, you start your own business so that you can do it on your terms, so that you can have freedom and flexibility. So of course it feels amazing, and not that it always will, because that would be unrealistic too. But what if we flip the script, right? And when we see all these like memes and laughable little graphics about trading your 9 to 5 for a 24/7, is this really something to laugh at? Like, to me, I read the symptoms and the things that were happening, and I have clients who are struggling. It's like, okay, great, we have these multi-million dollar businesses, but my life and I don't feel good. Is it really worth it? Why are we making this normal? Why are we laughing at this? It resonates because it's true. And why is it true? Right? So being seen as a leader is a position of power. And as leaders, we have to choose what we want to do with that power. We can lead the way that people previously have, or we can create a new path. And leadership is always going to be a difficult position, right? Leadership should be difficult because of the skills, because of the innovation, because all the eyes on you, but it shouldn't be difficult because you're so exhausted that your weekends are spent trying to recover from the week prior. And that's if you're even taking weekends off. We have the power of choice. We have the support that we need in most cases to evolve. We have technology. We have all of these different ways to become more efficient, to become more effective. Like, we just don't have to run our businesses that way anymore. Taking care of yourself should be a non-negotiable. Like, we can't stop honoring the reality that we're humans because we are business owners, because we are mothers. These positions that we hold, these responsibilities that we have, should not be self-sacrificial. And if you feel like that the way that you view leadership and the way that what you believe about leadership is, working 70 hours a week, is, not taking a lunch break, your life is your business. If that's what you believe, what I really want you to know is that your worthiness as a human is not dictated by how much you produce, by how many boxes you check, by how many certifications you get, by how many things that you do, period. That mentality of our worthiness, of us striving for these things to feel good enough, is what keeps us stuck in this. So there are many things that keep us from evolving, one of them being that mindset and that belief. the belief that faster is better stops us, the belief or the fear of if we wait, we will miss out, not trusting that what is for us will be for us, the thought that if we slow down, we will fail. These are all things that are holding us back. These are all things that are contributing to abandoning yourself in the process of greater impact. And you can move quickly, you can be ambitious, you can be driven, you can have these creative ideas that you build that you're excited about, and you can create an empire, you can create great impact, and you can make your mark on this world, which we all want, without burning yourself out in the process, without destroying your relationships in the process. But you have to build and make change that prioritizes those things. Most people, they will tell you that they value one thing, but their actions are completely different. And that misalignment keeps you stuck. And that misalignment you can feel in your body, right? And so all of us have been there. I don't speak to this from a place of not having experience with it. I know what it's like to not be present with my kids because my mind is spinning about work. I understand this at a deep level. And there is truly just a better way to lead and to live. So there are tons of resources and people, including myself, who are fighting for shorter work weeks and shorter work days and, really leaning into support and anchoring into your expertise and practicing and focusing on the 20% of the things that you're doing now to really make an impact in the world. And there's just a ton of things that are in place that I believe will help this. And the issue becomes that those ideas are there, just like I'm standing here now, and it feels kind of too big. It feels impossible. It feels like, okay, I have this mountain, and how can I rearrange all of these things when the only way that I know how to build success is the way that I have previously? And so even if you have this intention to make these changes, a lot of times it feels too far away. It feels like, I don't know how. And so you just default to what you've always done, right? I've had clients who we will, create plans. I will hold them accountable. But then when something hard happens, they will start to default to factory settings, right? And we have to really look at and make sure that your structure of your business and the strategy that you have in place for continued growth of the business has these things for yourself, the space, the time, the complete disconnect from the business integrated as part of the strategy, right? So how do we inch closer, right? What if we stop looking at this as a mountain and we start looking at it as okay, what are some tweaks that I can make to just get closer, right? I want to give you kind of some of my magic and use what's called reverse engineering. So if you have heard this term before, or if you haven't heard this term before, I love to start with the end in mind. So when I'm rebuilding businesses or strategy or structure with my clients, schedules, offers, and what do we want to see? What do we want to happen? How many hours do you want to work? How many days do you want to work? When are your kids in school? What available hours can you have that are best for your family? When do you have support? We're asking these questions first. And then we build backwards into that, taking, okay, here's all the work. Here's what is best for me and for my family. Then we bring that together. So I'm going to give you basically the condensed version of what I will walk my clients through since we don't have the full 12 months that my clients spend with me. So here's some steps that I want you to take today. The first thing that I want you to do is I want you to think about that end goal. I want you to write out your ideal day, your week, your month, your ideal, what you want your business to feel like. And so you can think about how does work integrate with your life? How many hours and days are you working? How much time do you want to spend with your kids? How much time do you want to spend with your partner? How much white space do you need? What would it feel like to have space between meetings and not have back-to-back meetings all day? What's your capacity? So think about that. Again, start with the end in mind. Okay. So then I want for each thing that you write down that you want, right? So you have this list of like, it would be ideal to have a date night every week. It would be ideal to work 6-hour days instead of 12-hour days. It would be, that would feel really nice. That would open up some space in my mind and in my schedule. Then next to each thing that you lay out, I want you to write just a single step that you could take, right? So if you write down, I want a weekly date night, a single step would be to find a babysitter if you don't already have one, or ask a grandparent, or ask, if you have somebody in place already for support with the kids, just tell them, okay, text them, right? Like text the babysitter. That's your first step. So I want you to do this for each step that you have written out. And then you'll be able to see, like one of my clients, she says what she loves about me is that it's small tweaks that make big leaps. And I really believe that like when things feel too big, it's overwhelming. We're already overwhelmed enough, and that's not what we want to contribute to. So instead, I would rather tweak things, optimize them, make them, just take something that's working or not working and shift it in one little direction so it feels better. Okay. So first, a list of ideal things for your schedule, for your time, for your energy. You would like to get a massage once a month. You would like to spend more time with your friends. You would like to, leave your office by a certain time, whatever those ideal things are. And then next to it, you're going to put one single step for that, right? One single thing that you can do. And then the third thing, and the most important thing, is you're going to take that step. So after you've written all those things down, you're going to actually go, and that becomes, which I know you don't need more of, but I'm going to give it to you anyways, that becomes a to-do list for you. And this becomes the most important to-do list, because if you think about it, if you even write down 5 things, right? And those 5 things are a date night with your partner, leaving, stopping work 2 hours earlier, getting together with your friends once a month, planning a family vacation twice a year, whatever the things are that push you closer to honoring yourself and your human experience and giving yourself the things that you need to be preventative of what we talked about that CEO that I saw the post from was experiencing. So even if you take steps in those directions of, it could be delegating something out that causes you a lot of stress and anxiety. These things can be from business and from personal, but I really want you to go in with an open mind when you create this. So at least a list of, 5 ideal changes. Next to that, one single step that you could take. And then thirdly, take that step. Do this all together. Text the people you need to text, write up an email to your team, put together the SOP of the thing that you need to hand out. Whatever it is, take that first step, because once you see that you can, once you start taking those initial steps towards bringing more work-life balance, bringing more happiness, anchoring yourself back into your home and your relationships and the things that truly matter that are aligned with your values, it will be easier to take another step, but you just have to start. So if you need clarity, if you need accountability, if you need support with this, if you're like, Kelsey, it feels like a million steps and I'm so in the business that I can't even see, can't see the forest through the trees situation, please book a call with me and we can talk about how I can support you. You can get on my wait list. We'll see what options we have available. But just know that if you feel this, if you are running your business from a place of self-sacrifice and you are losing your relationships and your time and your presence and your peace or your sanity, we can get it back. So thank you again for watching, and I will see you guys next week.